Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel Animate Orange, where I put together a lot of 3D metal models. Today something a little bit simpler, I think, the Kepler Spacecraft. Now, I actually gave this a shot not too long ago and I got it wrong right off the bat and did the body inside out, and trying to straighten it up, something broke, so it got tossed to the side. I finally picked up another one. I don't think, as long as I get that part correct this time, I don't think it's going to take very long. It looks to be sort of a low, medium, high, easy model. Let's open it up, take a look at the inside, and put it together. The Kepler Spacecraft. Another spacey model to go with the rovers and landers and other satellites. Inside we have but one sheet, so not a very complex model, perhaps. And we have the one sheet of paper for the directions. And if we open that up, starting of course with page 1, we have our title, our QR code. You can scan that with your phone to get a 360 view, or go to this website. We have a line drawing of the model sitting atop of a sheet, the sheet of metal sheet of parts. We have one of the parts here demonstrating the insertion tabs, fold lines, and insertion holes. The needle nose pliers are helpful for assembly box. Legend, E points at the engraved side, NE the non-engraved. It's not always perfectly clear. Sometimes the non-engraved side will appear to have engraving. Basically, the engraved side is the side that faces out. You can see that part once the model is completed. The NE usually is on the inside where you can't see when the model is completed. And this is an attention point. It's saying pay attention to the alignment of something, position of something. Sometimes they'll actually have some wording telling you what specifically to pay attention to. Sometimes, for instance, right here, it's telling you to make sure that you put these tabs in these slots and not these outer slots. Put them on the inner. So if you get that wrong, you're going to have trouble. Back over here, we have the older part of the legend. Blue circle, when you see that by a connection point, means to insert the tab, fold it over 90 degrees. Green triangle means to insert the tab and twist it 90 degrees. And a little note here, pull and screw metal tab 90 degrees to tighten, and that typically works. And then we have the one metal sheet, or the diagram, with all the parts numbered, pointing at the parts so that you can find them on the metal sheet. So starting with part 1, we have that pointing over here, which is this part right here. And if we slide over to page 2, we can see the start of the assembly flowchart, where it starts with part 1, part 2, part 3. You curve this around, you add that on, you add this on. Then down here at 4, you curve that. 5, you curve that, add it on, so on and so forth. Just follow through, follow the arrows, the part numbers. When you get to the bottom, on to page 3, and you start up here and just continue to follow the arrows. You've got some sub-assemblies here that show you 18 and 19 and how they fold and come together to form the larger part, which then goes on here or possibly over here. So the sub-assemblies show you how to make the smaller parts to go on the bigger parts, so on and so forth. Get to the bottom, over to page 4, following the arrows, getting near the end, and down here you have completed your Kepler Spacecraft satellite model. Let's take a moment to talk about the tools that I use. This is my standard set that I use in most every build. I have long needle nose pliers and flat nose pliers, useful for a variety of different things. I have flush clippers that I use to cut the parts off the trees. It makes it quick and easy. And then I have some precision tweezers, one with a very pointed end, one that's had the pointed end ground down slightly, and one with a flat, sort of curved end, great for getting into curved areas. And then I have a standard set of tweezers with an angled tip. These come in one of the Iconics models, and I love them and use them a lot. When it comes to shaping rounded parts, there are many options. I used dowel rods for a long time. I sharpened the ends of 2 of them with a pencil sharpener. These 2 are great for making cone shapes. Another option is a cheap drill bit set. This set has quite a few different sizes to choose from. Another option is a set of step mandrels. A quick look at the directions and some tools that I will use. We have our metal sheet, some tools to get me started. Let's put this together. Around the outer edge of part 6 are slots. Most of those slots are paired with another slot, but 2 of them are singular. The panel, part 5, should face towards the 2 singular slots along the outer edge. Now it's time for lots and lots of little parts. I used a largish bead to even out the shape of the dish. With angled parts like this, bend the tabs so that they both face towards the next connection, pointing in the same direction to help them line up with their slots. I use the round nose pliers to both clamp down and hold on to the part and to shape the small dish sections. It was at this point I realized I had not lined up the main body with the base properly. As I mentioned earlier in this build, the center panel is supposed to point towards the singular slots around the edge and not the double slots. I had to correct it. I bent these tabs over to make room to easily twist the next row of tabs coming up. And I give you the Kepler Spacecraft, a easier model to build, kind of a medium easy, really not that difficult, not super simple, but not terribly difficult. The only real challenge is just the amount of little small parts to put around this band and forming a few dishes. And if you've got some experience forming dishes, you got the right tool, that's no big deal at all. So it just takes a little bit of time. But really, this one took me just about an hour to build, so that's still not that long. And it's not, until you get to the little bitty parts, it's not a lot of parts. It's fairly easy to do. It's got to be one of the only, if not only, models that I've built that doesn't sit flat easily and doesn't have a base to put it on. So that's a little bit odd, but whatever. It'll still stand up and not just completely crash over, whereas some of the models with stands do kind of crash over. It's a fun little build, and this time I got it right, so now add one more to my list. Time to go find it a place besides some of the other space items. If you have any questions or comment, as always, feel free to leave them down below. Thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.